I'm Bob Landau, the property owner at 3500 Karen Drive in the development of Lake Calvert in Chesapeake Beach. May not be typical for you guys to get a video, but I wanted to be able to speak to you a little bit and show you some of the area we're talking about for what the effect will be on the work that's proposed for our property. Now, the basic backstory, in case the engineers aren't familiar, that there was originally a project manager back in 2009 who had some plans developed. Unfortunately, due diligence was not done at that time to notify the neighborhood and the property owners affected, which would be myself and Dave and Sherry Speed next door, about any of the work. So work was ready to proceed this past fall in 2012 when we saw it, and we're not aware of it, so we put a halt to it just so we could find out what was going on. Since then, there have been numerous communications and meetings, first with Miguel Jackson, also with Frank and Ian today, to go over what the plan is for the property, what's going on. And Dave and I both are trying to be reasonable and work with it. We know that there are certain things that are mandated that we have no control over. I think it's 378, the ruling that will control what vegetation and wooded growth can be allowed to occur on dams, hills, what you will call it, around the waterway. So we know that there's a limitation there, but there's also a concern that we have, and I think should be paid also good attention to the idea of how it affects our property. These plans were not in effect when we bought the property in '97 and built the house in '98. These plans were, the 378 wasn't not in existence yet, and there are some things that we're just asking for some modifications, and unfortunately I know some work has already been done, obviously, with plans drawn up before the neighborhood and the property owners were properly notified. And I'm sorry that somebody may have to do a little bit more tweaking or whatever, but we're asking your indulgence to help with that, since we had not been informed when we should have, and this could have been taken, this kind of discussion and design could have been taking place then. Our concern is three things. First of all, privacy that occurs with the tree growth that will, a lot of it be removed, so we're trying to retain as much as possible. Also, trees act as, besides giving us our oxygen and everything, they also act as a natural audio baffle to help cut down on the sound to some degree from the street. As I was telling Ian today, when we first came into this neighborhood, there were two lots that were available, one further in that had we known all this was going on, don't know whether we would have taken this particular property, being close to the lake, pond, considering noise, this kind of disruption to the ecology of the area. Ironically, this is a wetland area that we cannot do certain things to, so here's disturbances that are happening beyond our control, whereas if we wanted to, we couldn't. But in any event, we want privacy. We want to try to retain as much privacy. We want to retain the sound baffling. There's also an aesthetic issue to be considered, the front of our property as well as the privacy. But the last is also the ecology of it. This is, again, an area that we can't touch and don't want to. We bought this to leave it alone as much as possible. Clear the area for the house, the rest stays as it is. It's the home and habitat for a lot of wildlife. The trees have their own life cycle and do their thing. They shade, they provide homes, they give us oxygen. These are all the things that we wanted to leave intact on the property when we got it. That's why we were looking at old growth properties to begin with when we looked for property. So we're just asking if you can consider, and I'm going to take you out and show you a little bit about the area that's to be controlled for an erosion project, where there's a natural area of erosion that had occurred and water went its own way through the property. And the design now is to follow that. And Miguel had explained to us, I guess normally you just kind of follow the center area of a channel and work out from there. But we're feeling that channel can be, and Miguel had even said, that channel can be directed wherever you want it to. You bring in a backhoe, you can do whatever you want with it. We'd like to see if that channel can maybe be directed more towards the front of the property, more parallel to the guardrail, where the area is going to be cleared anyway. There's some area right now that's naturally cleared, and then there's the area beyond that's going to be cleared because of 378. We'd like to keep all that up there, so we affect and disrupt as little as possible further into the property. And I feel that, and Miguel agreed, that the channel can be directed coming off of our driveway from the overspill or whatever that goes under the driveways. Right, it starts going right along, and then at some point takes a right turn and goes more into the property on a diagonal course. We like to try and keep it a little straighter where it started and just have it go a little further up front. That way we don't need to worry about disrupting what's in the property now any more than necessary. So I'll take you back out there, see what we're talking about. And I appreciate your indulgence in taking the time to consider what we're talking about, and hope that the visuals help a little bit with that. All right? Thank you. So as you can tell, the water comes out through the little spillway channel that goes under the driveway as supposed to. And it starts to follow a pretty straight path, paralleling the road pretty well. And then it gets to a point right in about here, where this little clump is, and I'll get in for a close-up in a minute, where it kind of splits and starts to go more diagonally across the property, bypassing the area that's going to be cleared. Now I'm standing in that clump of little grove of trees that we were talking about that are mostly felled. And as you can see, the channel comes through, and it has on its own started to go on a diagonal path through the property. As you can see, the channel is still in the far right part of the screen, and I still have plenty of room to pan left and get into the area that's going to be cleared anyway. So at this point, here's an area that could be used, but this channel has gone more in towards the property, and work in there, clearing trees and doing work on it, would affect more of the tree growth, natural tree growth on the property as it is, affecting the environment and ecology, but also our privacy. So there's plenty of room here for that channel to travel, is how we feel. We're now giving what we in the business call the reverse angle. This is looking up towards the driveway to where the channel starts from further in. And I know you really can't see the water because it's under the rocks, but you can certainly hear it. But it follows that pattern of rocks down. And actually here is where we're starting to see some of it coming out. There you go. But again, you can see the proximity to the house, and we're trying to maintain as much privacy of the property as possible, as well as the complete natural look of the environment. It's one of the reasons we bought the place. But you can also see, here's that channel coming through, and here's all that area to the right of it that is open, some of which is going to be disturbed or removed as part of the process for the clearing of the dam anyway. As we pan across here, now looking towards the lake, and we're kind of like in the southwest direction here, there's where the start of the clearing beyond those blue stripes will go, beyond the blue ribbon on those trees. So while this area gets maintained of its tree growth, it's a big open area that doesn't really need to be cleared much just to be able to get a backhoe in and control that channel until it meets where the area that will be open anyway. And again, we're starting here with the house just to show proximity. I'll open up the exposure a little bit here as we go down to the babbling brook. And then we're looking back up now in a east, almost southeast direction, following the natural channel up towards the driveway. And it's right into there. And again, just to clarify the point here of widening out, and how much of this area, which is already pretty open and is available for that channeling, since you're able to engineer and design it wherever you want it to go. So that's what we're talking about. The more that's gone, the less privacy, the less aesthetic quality, the less sound baffling, and the less ecology of the area. Ironically, back further into the property, it's a wetland area and we can't do anything to it because that's protected in the front here. we're trying to protect as much as we can. So you can see how that will change when a lot of this is gone. Okay, that was the guided tour of the front. I'm sorry we have no gift shop for you to check out on the way up. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. My introduction kind of covered what we're looking at. And again, just to reiterate that, to us it's important that we keep this land as natural as it was as much as possible. And at the same time, we built the house off the road so we could have some privacy, and also some of that sound baffle that I was referring to earlier. We're just trying to keep as much of that intact as possible. We want to work with you guys and appreciate the work that's being done because of 378 and having to maintain the integrity of the hill on this side as well as the common side over there, on the side where the pond is, other side of the road, for the reasons spelled out in 378. But by the same token, this is the property we bought before that happened, and this is all kind of a shock to us, and we want to try and maintain as much as possible. So again, thank you for your indulgence. I'm going to put our address, street, for your reminder across the bottom of the screen here, and at the end I'll put up a little placard. So if you have any questions, please, we want to work with you guys, both Dave Speed and I. And certainly we do, my wife and I, and the bulk of this project on our side of the road is affecting our property. So feel free to contact us either by the email or by the phone number that I'll put up. And of course Ian, who's already been out here a couple times, and he has our contact information as well. So feel free and don't hesitate. So we hope to speak with you soon and hope we can work through this and work to a compromise everybody's happy with. All right, thank you very much.
Feels like